Hello everyone. Today our group wants to present our research and ideas about the problems and feasible solutions of the foreign coffee brand's localization in China in the view of intercultural communication, taking Starbucks as an example.
This is our outline. Now let's begin.
We live in a globalized world where the ties between countries and regions continue to strengthen, and different cultures are intertwined and spread in the process, facilitating the development of intercultural exchanges. As China's influence grows, market drivers have led to more and more multinational brands entering the Chinese market. At the same time, we also find this is a double-edged sword, presenting both opportunities and challenges for multinational companies. While overseas brands have certain advantages, cultural differences make them face difficulties in China. Food is a necessity for human survival. In society's development, countries have gradually formed a unique food culture, one of the essential components of non-linguistic culture in intercultural communication. Coffee has been developing rapidly in the Chinese market in recent years, where the tea culture is deep and widespread. Gradually, Chinese independent coffee brands have emerged, so foreign brands no longer occupy a dominant solid position. Through the iceberg theory, we know that coffee is an expression of culture. Therefore, for this project, we hope to investigate and study the cultural connotation and value embedded in coffee, take the multinational brand Starbucks as an example, and use the theory of intercultural communication to explore the difficulties it encountered in developing in China and provide effective solutions for it. We hope our project can be applied to Starbucks and other related products, brands, companies, and other entities based on intercultural communication, providing substantial lessons.
Let's move on to the background. Forbes Industry's former contributor panel's monocular says in China, especially Shanghai, the market is becoming increasingly competitive, with Western brands such as Starbucks and Costa Coffee battling it out with trendy local cafe. While Beijing-based Luckin Coffee is currently experiencing one of the fastest retail expansion in history. So the question we would like to investigate is why Starbucks is facing a growing dilemma in China and how to solve it. In fact, Starbucks made a lot of effort to actively integrate into China. After Starbucks entered China, it also made corresponding effort in localization. First of all, Starbucks focused on the localization of brand. When you combine Chinese cultural element, formulate and implement localization guidelines, increase the cultural identity of the brand in China, and attract consumers. To preserve and protect local landmark culture, for example, at a Starbucks store on a commercial street in Tianjin, the main goal of the store was to preserve the original building and restore the landmark to its full glory. And Starbucks has successfully preserved the century-old building based on the uniqueness of the landmark, which has won the heart of Tianjin consumers. Secondly, in order to integrate elements of Chinese classical style in the design of the building in Fuzhou, for example, Starbucks store used the calligraphy style Starbucks coffee sign to give the coffee culture a poetic meaning of simplicity and nature. The store is decorated with beautiful and exquisite wood carvings, traditional and elegant window panes, and red lanterns with a strong Chinese style. The Chinese elegance, understatement, and sophistication are also reflected here. In Xi'an, the multifold roof is an abstract expression of the traditional commercial and residential buildings in Xi'an. It expresses a kind of memories of the historical buildings that used to exist in the Berlin Drum Tower Square and respects the historical context of Xi'an so that it can communicate with the surrounding environment. Finally, Starbucks also uses Chinese tea culture as an entry point of product innovation, introducing tea-based beverages such as Starbucks Tea Vanilla, which also allows consumers to experiment nitrogen-infused tea to show Starbucks' deep respect for China's thousands of years of tea tradition. However, although they try to combine Chinese culture and elements to architecture and products. It was not the perfect plan because the rigid integration of local elements was limited by geographical location and personal preference, resulting in the problem of limited target population and location. In terms of the integration of architecture forms, China has a vast territory with various architecture styles. Not every city has a single architecture style, so if a city only builds one architecture style, in the range of consumer will be correspondingly limited. In terms of tea product innovation, Chinese tea has a traditional tea tasting culture, and the tea category is rich and diverse because some Chinese people have unique views and time-honored tradition in production techniques and tea tasting models and method. Different people also have different preference for the type of tea. If tea is made and tasted in an innovative way, the age and number of the target audience are largely limited. In short, adding certain elements is not a long-term solution. It only attracts people's attention, does not create lasting appeal, and it is a form of metaphysics.
Next, let me introduce the causes of the situation. Intercultural communication to interactions among people from different cultures describes the many communicative process and related issues between groups of individuals from different cultural backgrounds. Having good intercultural communication skills can help people accept and adapt to conversations and tasks in different cultural backgrounds. Intercultural communication is a challenge that today's multinational enterprises must face because cultural factors will have an impact on customers' expectations, perceptions, and evaluations of services. Due to the role of cultural factors, the same services may not necessarily reap the same result. If enterprises conduct international business overseas, they will encounter setbacks and failures if they only follow the successful experience in their own country. It is precisely because of the existence of cultural difference between China and the United States that Starbucks failed to build. This on culture and cultural difference can help people better understand the cultural conflicts generated by Starbucks in intercultural communication. Among the cultural dimensions mentioned by Hofstad, power distance is one of the most relevant dimensions to explain the difference in service perceptions between Chinese and American customers. Starbucks originated from the United States. The United States belongs to the country with a low power distance. Customers and service providers have little cognitive difference in status. Both sides accept and accept equal service and interactions. This is also the main reason why Starbucks ordering process and self-service are widely accepted in the United States. Starbucks service is very simple, efficient, and operate. This is not much communication between customers and service providers. However, China is a country with a higher power distance. Service providers are often regarded as a role with low social status. Service providers need to understand the customer's personal needs and provide reliable service. Customers have higher expectations for service equality. Starbucks employs service to all kinds of the customers a similar template process, which may make Chinese customers feel the indifference and boredom of the service providers. With the rise of many local coffee brands in China, these coffee shops pay great attention to providing warm and considerate service to customers, such as providing customers with small snacks and fresh gifts, providing customers with game players while waiting for coffee, activity asking customers if they need help at any time in the store, and specific personnel service for customers. This way reflects the care and respect of service providers for consumers. It has a strong attraction to customers in China. The competition among enterprises has led Starbucks to lose many original customers. In Edward Hall's three-dimensional theory of cultural difference, it is mentioned that high context and low context will affect the way of perception and communication. Starbucks is in line with the low context culture of United States. Starbucks customer service, product content, and advertising design often use a direct and clear way to clearly express the purpose. Listeners do not need to guess and ponder the meaning of the speakers too much. The communication media between the people mainly rely on language and words. However, China is a country with high context. The speaker often expresses its meanings indirectly in a more tactful way, and the listener can also make the accurate judgment on the speaker's intentions through the communication situation of both sides and other factors. Service providers with high context background are good at understanding and capture customers' needs that have not been expressed in words, and sometimes even provide unequipped service. In this case, Starbucks service and publicity are too simple and too narrow for Chinese people. In addition, Smalley proposed the 4 stages of culture shock. The challenges faced by Starbucks can be explained by the content of the first 2 stages.
The first stage of culture shock is failure with a new culture, yet being faced with various barriers. When Starbucks just entered China, Chinese consumers have a strong curiosity and freshness about the American coffee culture. However, due to the high price and few coffee shops, Starbucks has become the representative of the middle class entered in China. And the coffee culture has also become a symbol of identity for the middle class in China, which not only led to the popularity of Starbucks, but also limited the consumer group of Starbucks. The second stage is hostility and frustration with aspects of the new culture, and a principal emphasis on the superiority of the original culture. In recent years, young people have a new interpretation of coffee culture. Drinking black coffee in an American store every day has become a daily life of many students and office workers. The popular Starbucks is regarded as a label of vanity by many people. Many people think that the state of Starbucks coffee is not understanding. They choose more Chinese local coffee beans and other hybrid coffee as an alternative. Chinese local coffee culture began to rise. The increasing influence of large multinational enterprises has increasingly played a role in slowing down the velocity of the market and attaching the innovative spirit within enterprises. Many multinational enterprises have seen the growth of patent ideas, and many development strategies has not changed with the social development and the change of market culture environment. For example, with the development of globalization and network, the use of social media as a media platform presents the characteristics of diversification and two-way communication. Expanding the relationship with consumers has become the development trend of enterprises. For an old-skin dependent enterprise like Starbucks, in the Chinese market, it still prefers a way of having a third operation and pays attention to the interaction with consumers to complete offline communication. Its online interactive experience is poor, and its sales channels and publicity strategies are relatively single. At the same time, although globalization has introduced more brand competition, coffee brands from various countries have entered the Chinese market in recent years. These brands pursue innovation and explore Chinese cultural elements. The products are very novel and the price is very affordable, which makes Starbucks gradually lose a lot of market share. Our optimization plan, as well as our final products, will no longer attack customers by regularly integrating Chinese cultural elements into Starbucks coffee culture, but focus on the business strategy dimension of the brand to build a commercialization plan integrating Chinese culture at the level of business operation mode. In order to optimize this plan, promote the localization of the Starbucks brand in China, and enhance the brand voice and influence of Starbucks, we will provide a strategic plan and build a sub-brand, actively promote it, and moderately expand this brand and enhance the affinity of it. Integrate the respect of previous solutions for culture into this construction of sub-brand. Pay attention to product innovation and product quality, so as improving consumers' loyalty to this brand. Our final product is designing this new sub-brand, and now I'd like to introduce our final product and final materials to you. Firstly, we believe that this sub-brand must fully consider the cultural composition in the Chinese context. We think Starbucks can grasp the cultural resonance point, understand the cultural symbols, and create cross-border identity. So we firstly design a logo with Chinese traditional cultural norms and folkways. Please see our design. The main body of this logo is Xihe, the sun goddess in ancient Chinese culture, and the font is Li script in traditional Chinese calligraphy. Secondly, we like to design several posters based on the Chinese local language culture to bring a new kind of cultural identity. Please see our designs. We believe that when formulating propaganda slogans and beverage names, this sub-brand should further consider the language, habits, and language characteristics of Chinese people, as well as avoid directly translating foreign English propaganda. Thirdly, when solving the problem that Starbucks is facing, emotion intelligence is also an essential aspect. In our opinion, the packaging and taste of the product provide emotional value for customers and arouse cultural pride and happiness among the audience. So, to solve this problem's aspect, we combine the taste design in our posters and a series of coffee cup designs with the theme of 24 solar terms. Please see our samples of this series. Finally, because people's emotions and ideas will be affected by others' subconscious to varying degrees, we also believe that the application of social psychology in advertising is also necessary. And combining the consideration of the globalization trend, we also want to make a detailed corresponding business plan as one part of our final product materials to solve these two problems. We will submit our corresponding business plan with all our final products to show our caring, detailed, and insightful research results.
Now it comes to the conclusion part.
Our topic is the problems and feasible solutions of the foreign coffee brand's localization in China in the view of intercultural communication, taking Starbucks as our example. In our research, we employ a wealth of knowledge on intercultural communication, as well as combine intercultural communication and the problem of localization of multinational brands under the influence of globalization trends. Our focus is to analyze the reasons for the challenges faced by such multinational brands in the process of localization and take the most typical intercultural product, coffee, and the famous multinational coffee brand, Starbucks, as examples to give our feasible solutions. Furthermore, we also hope that our project can not only be applied to Starbucks, but also provide references for other related multinational products, brands, companies, and other entities based on intercultural communication in a substantial sense. This is our reference page. That's all about our presentation, and thank you so much for watching and listening.